Hi everyone, it's Ruby G. Welcome to Truth and Neurons. The public was told these murders were brutal, vicious, a bloodbath. That's the word that was used, bloodbath. And yet now, for the first time, we're seeing real images from the crime scene. Not just sketches, photographs, 200 of them, released quietly through the Moscow Police Department. Some blurred, others half obscured, but many shockingly clear. And what do they show? White walls, unmarked bed frames, a pillow out of place, a shelf slightly scuffled, no arterial spray on the walls, no massive pooling on the floors, no drag marks, no soaked linens, no imprints from bodies that were supposedly lying in place for hours, just sterile stillness. If you've ever seen the aftermath of even a single knife fatality, you'd know how much blood is expected. Now multiply that by 4 in 3 separate rooms with no time to clean, no exit strategy that would allow for forensic sanitation. And yet what do we get? A house that looks vacuumed? Now the official narrative says the bodies have been removed before the photos were taken. That's standard. But here's the problem. When you remove the bodies from a bloody scene, the evidence doesn't go with them. Blood remains, tissue remains, saturation remains. In one newly released photograph of the upstairs bedroom where Kaylee and Madison's bodies were allegedly found, there is indeed a substantial amount of blood soaking into a pillow and bedding on one side of the bed where Kaylee reportedly lay. It's concentrated, localized, yet the walls are almost completely clean. I would think in a close quarters knife attack, especially one targeting the neck and upper torso, you would expect arterial spray, fine mist or elongated droplets marking the walls, furniture, and anything within range. And yet here it's almost absent. Instead we see more so a pooling, gravity-fed bleeding from a victim who remained in one position. This points to a different reality. Perhaps a victim already unconscious or incapacitated when wounded, a targeted controlled attack with little to no defense struggle, a weapon inserted with precision rather than slashing, producing less spray and more contained bleeding. It doesn't seem to be a profile of a chaotic lone killer slashing wildly. And here's where it gets even stranger. Outside the bed pooling, the rest of the photos, including other rooms, show clean floors, white walls, a pillow out of place. Not quite the bloodbath described by the coroner to the public. Among the crime scene photos, one stands out not for its brutality, but for what it quietly suggests. In the image, we can see a $2 bill, a license card, and a small packet containing what appears to be blue powder. Officially, these items were collected as evidence by ISP investigator J. Talbot on November 14, 2022, and logged in the police file. No one in law enforcement is saying what the powder is. No one's explaining why it was there, and no one is connecting the dots to possible drug-related activity within the orbit of this house. Activity that could suggest motives, debts, or connections far outside prosecution's laser focus on Brian Kohberger. So what's going on here? There are 3 possible explanations that I can think of, and none of them exonerate the state. The first being that the photos are staged or selectively released to maintain a controlled visual narrative, one that avoids showing the true horror, perhaps to protect future jurors or preserve public perception. But if that's the case, then why are we being shown anything at all? Why tease transparency while concealing the key forensic realities? Okay, the second being that the crime scene was cleaned, either officially before photography or, disturbingly, during the unaccounted hours before 911 was called. If someone cleaned that house while 2 surviving roommates were inside, that implicates more than one person. That points to a coordinated exit strategy. That suggests accomplices or inside knowledge. And the third being that the nature of the killings may not match the narrative at all. Were the wounds different than described? Were some of the victims already unconscious or subdued? Was this a drug overdose? This is where it gets darker. Because in multiple autopsy summaries, we see wounds described as not defensive but surgically clean. That's not what we'd expect from a random rage killing. That's controlled violence, the kind in military or cartel executions. Some victims show clean thoracic penetrations, while others have messy peripheral wounds, a variance that forensic science rarely attributes to one killer using one blade. And now the photos seem to confirm that, or rather fail to contradict it. Which leads us to ask, was a crime scene partially staged before the police arrived? Were key areas cleaned or altered during the 8-hour delay between the time of the killings and the 911 call? We know that blood was found outside the home of Queen Road, and that was never tested. We know footage shows a shadowy figure exiting on Linda Lane, not the main route, and this person was never identified. And hopefully, as this case moves forward, we will receive professional forensic analysis from qualified medical experts who can help the public understand what these images really show, and more importantly, what they don't. Additional evidentiary photos taken from proper forensic protocols could confirm whether what we're seeing is consistent with the official story, or proof that the official story is missing something or someone. This case is far from over. If anything, it's just starting to unravel. That's all for today's episode of Truth and Neurons. If you found this analysis helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on the ethics of media commentary in high-profile cases. Until next time, keep thinking critically and questioning everything. Cheers, bye!